The dark truth about Los Angeles, a city once synonymous with endless possibility and cinematic dreams, is far more complex than the glittering facade it presents to the world. Once it was paradise, a golden land where ambitions soared and fortunes were forged beneath an eternal sun. Now, independent researchers confirm a different, darker reality, a metropolis teetering on the precipice of profound, irreversible change. Why did this city, the epicenter of culture and innovation, become a crucible of confirmed risks so rapidly? We all remember the golden age, the effortless magic, the sense that anything was achievable under those boundless skies. But beneath the veneer of endless summer and star-studded boulevards, a different nature has taken hold, one that promises not just challenges, but existential threats. What if the very ground beneath this celebrated city is slowly, inexorably preparing to betray it? And what if the first, most fundamental risk is already too late to address? We once pictured Los Angeles as an unshakable empire, a monument to human ingenuity and a beacon of aspiration. We saw it on screens, a place of vibrant energy, where every corner held a new story, a new beginning. That image, however, is now fractured, eroding under the weight of forces both seen and unseen. The dream, for many, has become a relentless struggle, a stark contrast to the effortless glow of its past. Independent researchers, through painstaking studies and undeniable data, have peeled back the layers of illusion to reveal 7 critical risks, each one a confirmed threat to the city's very existence, forces that amplify emotions of injustice and loss. The first, and perhaps most fundamental, of these confirmed risks strikes at the very foundations of the city: unseen geological pressures. For decades, Los Angeles has been famous for its seismic activity, a city built atop a complex web of fault lines. We've all felt the subtle tremors, the sudden jolts that remind us of the immense power sleeping just beneath the surface. But this isn't merely about the occasional earthquake. It's about a relentless building pressure, a geological time bomb ticking slower than human perception, yet far more certain. Independent geological surveys and seismic mapping projects have confirmed an alarming increase in microseismic events, not just along the well-known San Andreas Fault, but across a network of previously unmapped, interconnected fault systems crisscrossing the metropolitan area. These aren't just isolated incidents, they are symptoms of a profound geological instability. Experts from the California Institute of Technology and the United States Geological Survey have published extensive research detailing how these accumulating stresses could lead to a catastrophic event of unprecedented scale, far beyond what the city has ever experienced. We've all seen the news reports, the simulations, the warnings, yet the full weight of this reality rarely settles. The question isn't if a major quake will strike, but when, and what the cumulative effect of these 7 confirmed risks will be when that moment arrives. This relentless shifting, this constant silent grinding beneath our feet, is a daily reminder that the ground itself is not a stable canvas for dreams, but a dynamic, unpredictable force. The memory of the city's early, seemingly tranquil days now feels like a distant echo, replaced by the persistent, underlying hum of geological tension. But the ground isn't the only element turning against this once golden land. The very air and water, the essence of life itself, are now under threat, revealing the second confirmed risk. But the ground isn't the only element turning against this once golden land. The very air and water, the essence of life itself, are now under threat, revealing the second confirmed risk. We once breathed a different air in Los Angeles, an air infused with the scent of orange blossoms and the crispness of the Pacific. We drank water that felt fresh, drawn from a landscape that seemed to endlessly replenish itself, its rivers flowing with vitality. It was a time when the sky was a canvas of pure, unblemished blue, a place where the sun always shone, and the natural world felt like an endless, generous embrace, a true paradise. But that pristine vision, that natural magic, slowly began to fade. The relentless drive for expansion, the insatiable hunger for more development, more cars, more industry, began to cast a long, suffocating shadow. The collective pursuit of prosperity, fueled by a certain kind of urban greed, inadvertently sacrificed the very elements that made life here so appealing. The air thickened, the water sources dwindled, and the vibrant hues of the natural world were gradually muted by a pervasive haze. It was a subtle shift at first, a slow erosion of environmental purity, but one with profound and irreversible consequences, robbing the city of its inherent soul. Independent researchers have meticulously documented this decline. Studies from institutions like the University of Southern California's Environmental Health Sciences Department confirm a persistent and alarming degradation of air quality, particularly in densely populated areas. We've all seen the visual evidence. The infamous smog, a thick, yellow-brown blanket that often obscures the iconic Hollywood Hills, transforming majestic vistas into blurred silhouettes. But it's more than just an aesthetic issue. Data compiled by environmental watchdogs and published in peer-reviewed journals reveal particulate matter levels and ozone concentrations that frequently exceed safe thresholds, leading to a confirmed increase in respiratory illnesses, cardiovascular problems, and even cognitive impairments among residents, particularly children and the elderly. The air we breathe, once a source of invigorating life, has become a silent, insidious threat, a stark reminder of the cost of unchecked progress. Why did we allow the very breath of the city to become so tainted, so dangerous? And then there is the water, the lifeblood of any metropolis. Los Angeles, a sprawling desert city, has always relied heavily on imported water, a testament to human ingenuity and engineering. But now, independent hydrological analyses, including those from the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, corroborated by academic studies, confirm an escalating crisis. Prolonged droughts, intensified by global climate shifts, have severely strained the region's vital resources, pushing reservoirs to historic lows. The snowpack in the Sierra Nevada, a crucial natural reservoir, is diminishing at an unprecedented rate, threatening future supply. We are witnessing not just scarcity, but a growing concern over water quality. Contaminants from aging infrastructure, urban runoff, and industrial discharge pose confirmed risks to public health, requiring increasingly complex and expensive treatment processes that push costs higher. The once abundant flow, taken for granted, now feels like a precious, dwindling commodity, a source of constant anxiety for every household. We've all felt the unspoken tension during water restriction mandates, the collective fear of what happens when the taps run dry, when the essential lifeline falters. We all remember the days when the ocean breeze felt truly clean, when a clear day meant seeing for miles across the sprawling basin, a view of pure possibility. We've all seen the hazy horizon, the subtle shift in the light that signals the air is heavy with more than just sunlight, but with something harmful. We've felt the anxiety of drought restrictions, the shared understanding that something fundamental has been lost, something irreplaceable, something that chips away at the city's very identity. The magic of a city built on dreams is fading, as its most basic elements, air and water, turn against it. It's a profound loss, a betrayal of the natural promise that once defined this golden land. We feel it in the sting of our eyes, in the dry, cracked earth, in the quiet worry for the future of our children. But wait until you see what came next. A third confirmed risk that threatens to unravel the very social fabric of this iconic city. A challenge that goes beyond the physical environment and delves into the heart of human connection itself, revealing a deeper injustice. The third confirmed risk, one that gnaws at the very soul of Los Angeles, is the insidious rise of socioeconomic disparities. Once, this city was the ultimate land of opportunity, a place where the ambitious and the dreamers, regardless of their starting point, could carve out their own slice of the golden age. We all remember the narratives, etched into the cultural consciousness, of immigrants arriving with nothing, working tirelessly, and ascending to unimaginable heights. It was the promise of meritocracy, the belief that hard work and ingenuity were the only currencies that truly mattered here. The very air seemed to hum with the energy of upward mobility, a shared optimism that the city's boundless magic extended to everyone willing to reach for it. This was the vibrant tapestry of Los Angeles, woven with threads of diverse dreams, each contributing to a collective, prosperous future. We saw it in the bustling markets, the thriving neighborhoods, the sense of a community built on shared aspiration. But that collective dream, that sense of shared destiny, began to fray, stretched thin by a ruthless shift in priorities. The pursuit of individual wealth, of unchecked development, and a certain kind of urban greed slowly started to overshadow the foundational principle of equitable opportunity. The magic of a city for all gradually gave way to a landscape of stark contrasts, a place where the glittering towers of privilege cast long, unforgiving shadows over communities struggling to survive. This wasn't a sudden collapse, but a gradual, almost imperceptible erosion of the middle ground, leaving behind a chasm that grows wider with each passing year. The moral compass of the city seemed to drift, allowing the pursuit of profit to eclipse the well-being of its most vulnerable citizens. Independent researchers have meticulously documented this widening gulf. Reports from institutions like the California Policy Lab and the UCLA Luskin Institute on Inequality and Democracy confirm an alarming acceleration in income disparity. We've seen the statistics. The top 10% of earners now command a disproportionately vast share of the city's wealth, while for the bottom 50%, the struggle to simply exist becomes more arduous by the day. The housing crisis, once a concern, has escalated into a full-blown emergency, driving tens of thousands onto the streets, transforming public spaces into sprawling encampments. These aren't just numbers. They are human lives, families, individuals caught in a relentless cycle of poverty and displacement. Access to quality healthcare, to meaningful education, even to green spaces and clean air, has increasingly become a luxury reserved for the privileged few, rather than a fundamental right for all. The once bright promise of Los Angeles, the sense of a fair shot for everyone, now feels like a cruel jest for too many, amplifying emotions of injustice and loss. We've all felt this change, haven't we? We've all witnessed the jarring juxtaposition of opulence and destitution, the gleaming storefronts just blocks away from the desperate faces on the pavement. The discomfort of seeing a city so rich in resources, yet so poor in equitable distribution, is a heavy burden on the collective conscience. This isn't just an economic issue, it's a moral one, a silent tearing of the social fabric that once held this diverse metropolis together. The echo of past promises, of a city that uplifted everyone, now rings hollow against the backdrop of visible suffering. This deep internal fracturing, this growing sense of two cities living side by side, yet worlds apart, creates an instability that goes far beyond financial metrics. It cultivates resentment, erodes trust, and leaves the entire urban ecosystem vulnerable to forces that exploit division. But wait until you see what came next, a fourth confirmed risk that feeds on this very fragmentation, a danger that has quietly infiltrated the city's infrastructure and institutions, threatening to paralyze its operations and steal its very identity, a threat that is both unseen and undeniably present. The fourth confirmed risk, one that has quietly infiltrated the city's infrastructure and institutions, threatening to paralyze its operations and steal its very identity, is the pervasive and escalating threat of digital vulnerabilities and cyber warfare. Once, Los Angeles, the city of innovation, embraced the future with an open, eager spirit. We all remember when the internet promised boundless connection, when smart city initiatives were hailed as the next frontier, bringing unprecedented efficiency and convenience to urban life. We saw the seamless integration of technology into every aspect of our existence, from sophisticated traffic management systems to advanced public safety networks, from instantaneous financial transactions to global communication. It was a golden age of digital progress, where the city led the way, a testament to its forward-thinking spirit and its unwavering belief in human ingenuity. We believed deeply in the strength of these invisible networks, the boundless power of data, and the promise of a perfectly optimized urban experience, a true beacon of digital possibility. But that very interconnectedness, that profound reliance on unseen digital architecture, has become a treacherous, double-edged sword. The invisible threads that once bound the city together in a web of progress now form a vast, intricate, and alarmingly vulnerable network. A new kind of battlefield where the lines of engagement are constantly shifting. The relentless pursuit of digital efficiency, driven by a certain kind of technological greed and an almost blind faith in innovation, inadvertently opened the door to an unseen enemy, one that operates in the deepest shadows of the internet, threatening to unravel the very fabric of urban life without a single physical blow. What was once hailed as the city's most advanced defense against inefficiency has quickly become its most exposed flank, transforming the promise of a digital utopia into a stark, unsettling landscape of potential catastrophe. The magic of seamless operation now carries the persistent low hum of unseen threats, a constant underlying tension that gnaws at the edges of our collective peace of mind. Independent cybersecurity researchers and intelligence analysts have issued dire warnings, repeatedly confirming that Los Angeles, as a global hub of finance, entertainment, and critical infrastructure, is not just a target, but a prime target. Reports from prestigious organizations like the Rand Corporation, alongside analyses from specialized cybersecurity firms dedicated to critical infrastructure protection, have meticulously detailed the city's profound exposure. We are not talking about simple, isolated data breaches. We are talking about sophisticated, often state-sponsored attacks and highly organized criminal enterprises, actively probing, mapping, and exploiting weaknesses in the city's most vital digital backbone. Experts from the United States Department of Homeland Security's Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, widely known as CISA, have confirmed numerous sustained attempts to infiltrate municipal networks, targeting everything from the power grid that lights our homes and powers our businesses to the intricate water treatment facilities that ensure our survival, to the emergency services that respond in our moments of greatest need, and the complex transportation systems that keep the city moving. Imagine the utter chaos, the paralysis, if traffic lights were remotely controlled, if hospitals lost immediate access to critical patient records, or if the entire water supply was compromised by an invisible hand operating from thousands of miles away. Data published in leading technology journals and corroborated by incident response teams reveals an alarming year-over-year increase in confirmed ransomware attacks against local government agencies and private sector entities within the sprawling metropolitan area, effectively paralyzing operations and demanding exorbitant ransoms that drain public coffers. These aren't just theoretical scenarios, they are documented incidents, each one a stark, chilling reminder of how fragile our digital world truly is and how easily it can be exploited by those with malicious intent. We've all felt this insidious shift, haven't we? We've all felt the unsettling unease when our personal data is compromised, the barrage of phishing emails, the constant low-level fear of identity theft that has become a fact of modern life. Now, extend that feeling of vulnerability to a city-wide scale, where the very systems that underpin our daily lives, the electricity that keeps the lights on, the water that flows from our taps, the movement of people and goods across the vast urban landscape could be brought to a grinding, terrifying standstill by a few lines of malicious code. We've all seen the news reports of cities far away grappling with these digital sieges, the widespread disruption, the fear, and the quiet, gnawing worry that it could happen here, to us, is a constant, persistent thought in the back of our minds. The sense of helplessness against these unseen adversaries, the feeling that our most fundamental, essential services are at the mercy of distant, anonymous actors, chips away relentlessly at our sense of security and our collective trust in the modern world. The comforting echo of a simpler time, when threats were tangible, visible, and could be confronted head-on, now feels like a distant, almost nostalgic memory. The digital realm, once a shining symbol of progress and an engine of growth, has become a hidden battleground, eroding trust and stability from within, threatening to steal the city's very identity. But this invisible war isn't the only force quietly reshaping the city's future, challenging its core values and the bonds that hold its people together. Wait until you see what came next, a fifth confirmed risk that touches upon the very fabric of human connection and civic responsibility, revealing how the very notion of community, once a source of strength, is being challenged and redefined in profound and unsettling ways. The fifth confirmed risk, one that touches upon the very fabric of human connection and civic responsibility, is revealing how the very notion of community, once a source of strength, is being challenged and redefined in profound and unsettling ways. Once, Los Angeles, for all its sprawling immensity, nurtured a vibrant, almost magical sense of local community. We all remember the block parties, the neighborhood watch meetings, the bustling farmers markets where strangers became friends and shared their lives. We saw the collective spirit in action, people coming together to support local schools, to clean up parks, to advocate for their shared interests at city council meetings. It was a time when civic engagement felt like a natural extension of being a resident, a tangible expression of pride in one's corner of this vast metropolis. The magic wasn't just in the sunshine, but in the shared purpose, the quiet understanding that we were all in this together, building something greater than ourselves, a collective soul. This spirit, this active participation, was the invisible glue that held the city's diverse populations together, transforming a collection of individuals into a true community, a beacon of collective action and shared dreams. But that powerful sense of collective responsibility, that cherished civic magic, has slowly begun to dissipate, eroded by a confluence of modern pressures. The relentless pace of urban life, the increasing transience of its population, and the pervasive allure of digital connection, often at the expense of real-world interaction, have all contributed to a quiet, almost imperceptible fraying of the social fabric. The pursuit of individual ambition, once balanced by communal obligation, has gained an almost unchecked dominance, fostering a certain kind of urban isolation, a sense that one's own struggles are to be borne alone. The vibrant tapestry of engaged citizens has begun to unravel, thread by precious thread, leaving behind a landscape where public spaces feel less like gathering points and more like mere transit zones. The soul of shared purpose, once so palpable, now feels like a distant echo, replaced by a growing sense of detachment, a profound loss. Independent sociological researchers have meticulously charted this decline. Studies from institutions like the USC Dornsife Center for the Political Future and the RAND Corporation's research on civic engagement have confirmed a steady, alarming decrease in traditional forms of civic participation across the Los Angeles metropolitan area. We've seen the data, declining voter turnout in local elections, a measurable drop in volunteerism for community organizations, and a significant reduction in membership in neighborhood associations, all painting a stark picture of a city losing its collective voice. Research published in journals focusing on urban studies reveals rising indices of social isolation, where residents report fewer close ties with their neighbors and a diminished sense of belonging to their immediate geographic communities. This isn't just about statistics. It's about the tangible absence of human connection, the quiet erosion of trust in local institutions, and the growing chasm between citizens and their governance. Experts from the California State University system have published extensive analyses detailing how this breakdown in social capital weakens the city's resilience, making it harder to address shared challenges and amplifying emotions of injustice when collective action feels impossible. We've all felt this quiet drift, haven't we? The fleeting interactions with strangers, the growing anonymity in crowded spaces, the sense of living side by side with countless others, yet feeling profoundly alone. We've all recognized the subtle shift from active participation to passive observation, the feeling that our individual voices get lost in the urban din, making us question if our engagement truly matters. It's the subtle ache of seeing a community event with sparse attendance, or the quiet frustration when local issues go unaddressed because no one feels empowered to lead the charge. This erosion of community, this decline in civic responsibility, isn't just a social trend. It's a profound loss, a chipping away at the city's very identity, leaving it vulnerable to external forces that thrive on division and disengagement. It's a betrayal of the collective spirit that once defined this golden land. But this internal fracturing, this breakdown of human bonds, is only one piece of a larger, more complex puzzle. Wait until you see what came next. A sixth confirmed risk that transcends the city's borders, revealing how Los Angeles is increasingly exposed to the tumultuous currents of evolving global dynamics, forces that threaten to reshape its destiny from afar, entirely beyond its control. The sixth confirmed risk, one that transcends the city's borders, revealing how Los Angeles is increasingly exposed to the tumultuous currents of evolving global dynamics, threatens to reshape its destiny from afar, entirely beyond its control. Once, Los Angeles, with its unparalleled cultural influence and economic might, projected an image of almost untouchable global leadership. We all remember when its trends set the world's pace, when its industries dictated global tastes, and when its sheer prosperity seemed to insulate it from the vagaries of international affairs. We saw it as a global capital, a beacon of innovation that influenced rather than was influenced, seemingly immune to the distant tremors of geopolitical instability or economic downturns. It was the magic of being at the forefront, the sense that its unique blend of creativity and commerce created a self-sustaining empire, a golden land of limitless influence. This belief in its singular, almost exceptional status imbued the city with a powerful sense of self-determination, a feeling that its future was entirely its own to command. But that comforting illusion of insulation, that sense of being a world unto itself, has been brutally shattered by the undeniable reality of an increasingly interconnected and volatile planet. The relentless pursuit of global integration, while bringing immense opportunities, has also woven Los Angeles deeply into a complex web of international dependencies and vulnerabilities. The magic of its perceived autonomy has given way to the stark truth of its profound exposure, transforming its global reach into a potential Achilles heel. What was once seen as an advantage, its status as a global nexus, has now become a conduit for external pressures that strike at the very heart of its stability, threatening to unravel its soul without a single local cause. Independent geopolitical analysts and economic research institutes have meticulously documented this growing susceptibility. Reports from respected think tanks like the Council on Foreign Relations and the Peterson Institute on International Economics, alongside academic studies from institutions focusing on international relations, confirm how global shifts now directly impact local realities in Los Angeles. We've seen the evidence. International trade wars disrupting crucial supply chains, leading to confirmed price increases and job losses in key sectors like manufacturing and logistics. The city's port, a vital artery of global commerce, becomes a choke point for international tensions. Global pandemics, like the one we all experienced, have starkly revealed the fragility of interconnected systems, paralyzing industries, emptying tourist hubs, and straining public health resources to their breaking point. Furthermore, researchers studying climate migration patterns, particularly from regions experiencing extreme environmental stress, confirm a projected increase in population shifts towards perceived safer havens, placing immense, confirmed strain on Los Angeles's already overstretched infrastructure and resources. The economic ripples of distant financial crises, the political instability in far-off lands, and the evolving nature of international rivalries now land squarely on Los Angeles' doorstep, creating a constant, low-level anxiety that permeates everyday life. We've all heard the news reports of distant conflicts, the global economic forecasts, and the unsettling feeling that events thousands of miles away can directly affect our jobs, our cost of living, and our sense of security. The once clear distinction between local and global has blurred, leaving us with a persistent, gnawing worry about the unseen forces shaping our lives. We've all felt this ripple effect, haven't we? The sudden spike in gas prices due to an overseas conflict, the empty shelves at stores because of supply chain issues on another continent, the unsettling awareness that our local economy is inextricably linked to the whims of international markets and political actors. This isn't just an abstract concept, it's a tangible, daily reality that chips away at our sense of control and amplifies emotions of injustice and loss when forces beyond our grasp dictate our fortunes. The echo of a time when Los Angeles seemed to command its own destiny now feels like a quaint, almost naive memory. This profound exposure to global dynamics creates an instability that goes beyond mere economic fluctuations. It challenges the city's capacity for self-governance and its ability to chart an independent course. But wait until you see what came next, a seventh and final confirmed risk, one that synthesizes many of these challenges, revealing how the very governance and leadership structures within Los Angeles are struggling to adapt to this onslaught of multifaceted threats, threatening to leave the city rudderless in a storm of its own making. The seventh confirmed risk, one that synthesizes many of these challenges, revealing how the very governance and leadership structures within Los Angeles are struggling to adapt to this onslaught of multifaceted threats, threatening to leave the city rudderless in a storm of its own making. Once, Los Angeles, a city of pioneers, seemed to possess a leadership as ambitious and forward-thinking as its population. We all remember when its civic leaders were heralded as visionaries, orchestrating monumental projects, from the aqueducts that brought water across deserts to the freeways that connected its sprawling communities. There was a palpable sense of purpose, a belief that with the right leadership, any challenge could be overcome, any dream realized. The city's governance, for all its complexities, often felt robust, responsive, capable of steering this vast metropolis through times of rapid change and opportunity, embodying a certain urban magic. We saw the tangible results, the infrastructure, the thriving economy, the cultural influence, all seemingly guided by a steady hand, a collective soul. But that image of decisive, forward-thinking leadership has begun to falter, strained by the sheer scale and interconnectedness of the challenges we've just explored. The relentless onslaught of geological threats, environmental degradation, socioeconomic divides, digital vulnerabilities, community erosion, and global pressures has created a crisis of governance. The magic of effective leadership, the capacity to unite disparate interests and enact bold solutions, seems increasingly elusive. A certain kind of bureaucratic inertia, coupled with political fragmentation and the sheer enormity of competing demands, has started to paralyze the city's ability to respond decisively. The guiding hand appears less steady, more hesitant, struggling to keep pace with an accelerating reality. Independent analyses from urban policy think tanks like the Pat Brown Institute for Public Affairs at California State University, Los Angeles, and reports from the Los Angeles County Grand Jury confirm a growing crisis of governmental capacity and effectiveness. We've seen the data studies detailing significant delays in critical infrastructure projects, a confirmed lack of coordinated responses to overlapping crises, and an alarming decline in public trust in local institutions. Researchers focusing on public administration have published extensive findings on policy paralysis, where urgent issues are met with protracted debates and insufficient action. The complex web of overlapping jurisdictions and competing political agendas, once a sign of democratic robustness, now often acts as a confirmed impediment, slowing down vital decisions and hindering comprehensive strategies. Experts from the University of Southern California's Price School of Public Policy have highlighted how the city's governance structures, designed for an earlier, less complex era, are struggling to adapt to the multifaceted, rapidly evolving threats of the 21st century, amplifying emotions of injustice and loss when solutions seem perpetually out of reach. We've all felt the frustration, haven't we? The bewildering complexity of navigating city services. The sense that urgent problems are left to fester. The quiet despair when promises of change evaporate into bureaucratic delays. We've all witnessed the political infighting, the seemingly endless cycles of debate that yield little tangible progress, leaving us to wonder if anyone is truly at the